Welcome back to the Hannahcast YouTube channel, and today a new Oscar category has been announced. The first new Oscar category since Best Animated Feature in 2001, we have Best Casting. Just going off of what Variety has said, they say the Board of Governors of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences announced a new competitive Oscar category for Best Achievement in Casting for films released in 2025, beginning at the 98th ceremony in 2026. This is major, and this could also open the floodgates for more changes in the future, and honestly, good changes, because this, I think, is a good start. Best Casting. To anyone confused, this is not going to be the same thing as Best Ensemble. Now, granted, we don't have the rules for this category yet. Those rules will be announced in 2025. There is a difference between casting and ensemble. Ensemble is basically the collective performance of the actors. Casting is basically like which of these, films had like the best casting decisions. Could it be something like, discovering new talent? Could it be something like, trying to cast a very important figure in fiction or real life? Or maybe casting people against type, like an Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems. Again, this is very, very welcome. I think this is a very good category to have, although granted, we don't really have a lot of precursors. Now, the BAFTAs, they do have casting, but at the same time, that is an entirely juried category, whereas I'm assuming at the Oscars, it's gonna be voted on by the entire casting branch at the Academy. One of the reasons why it's also kind of surprising that we're getting a new category is because the Academy, at least in recent years, have really been trying to shorten the show. There was that one time in 2018 where they were trying to take all the, like a bunch of categories out of the live show or at least present them during the commercial breaks and only show the highlights, which caused so much backlash that it made the Academy reel back and go, okay, we're not doing that. But then they ended up doing it in 2021 anyway. They pushed 8 categories out of the live show to be presented before it even started, and it was very uneventful, and it was just very disrespectful to the filmmakers. Now, yes, I'm sure a lot of casual viewers aren't going to care about what won Best Documentary Short, but it's also not made for them. This is about honoring film in all of its crafts. And that's going to go on to another point I'm going to get to later on regarding sound. This is not for the plebs. Like, the Oscars are not for the plebs. The Oscars are for the actual industry. It's for actually honoring people in the film industry. And the fact that they actually managed to squeeze in a new category for a couple years from now is very shocking. And if I'm going to be honest, we have to give a lot of praise to Janet Yang, who is currently the president of the Academy. Because, let's face it, before Janet Yang came along, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences had some very, very questionable leaders. Again, just caving into what ABC wanted, taking categories out of the live show. And again, in 2018, legitimately considering a Best Achievement in Popular Film Oscar category. It doesn't make any sense. And again, that got so much backlash to where they made the Academy go, okay, we're not doing this one. But Janet Yang really does seem like she cares about the integrity of the Oscars. She made sure all of the categories were played during the ceremony, even down to how the nominees were presented. It's very traditional, and it goes back to the basics in a way that is still very exciting, and we're not having to sit down and watch these people come up with really stupid bits and everything. We're just watching the nominees getting announced. It's just straightforward, and I like that. And even the ceremony last year was really, really good. A lot of this ceremony was about educating people about cinema and teaching people about what makes cinematography cool and all that cool stuff. And I feel like what Janet Yang is doing, she's managing to do 2 things at once that I did not think was possible. She is keeping the integrity of the Oscars while at the same time innovating the Oscars and doing new things, honoring more crafts. And hopefully in the future, that can also mean we get a Best Stunts category, because the fact that we're getting a casting category is a very good sign. Because again, ABC has been trying to shorten the show, so you would think that of all things, they would not want to do any more categories. But the fact that we're getting best casting is just a really good sign that we're on the right track. Now, hopefully in the future, this also means that we get the sound category separated again, because if you don't recall, the sound category, Best Sound, was originally split into two categories, Best Sound Editing and Best Sound Mixing. The last time we had these awards, Ford v Ferrari won Best Sound Editing and 1917 won Best Sound Mixing. Now, I've heard some people say, well, that was the sound branch's call, like they called for that to happen. But that wasn't really the case, because the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, this was actually an article that came out like when the 8 categories, including sound, were being taken out of the live ceremony in 2021. This article came out, the Academy was being pushed by ABC to push the sound branch to combining the sound categories, lest they be removed from the show entirely. So you could say, yeah, the sound branch conceded on combining the categories, but it's kind of like conceding to a burglar to giving your wallet to them while they have a gun to your head. It's like, well, yeah, you technically gave them your wallet, but you didn't really have any choice in the matter. But again, we are on the right track. But back to the best casting thing. What does this mean for what movies could get nominated? Like, for example, what movies will be nominated this year? I mean, in this year, at the Artius Awards, which is probably the best indicator of a casting precursor we have other than BAFTA, like, for example, for feature big budget comedy, the nominees are Air, Are You There, God It's Me, Margaret, Asteroid City, Cocaine Bear, and Wonka. For feature big budget drama, we have The Color Purple, Maestro, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Saltburn. For feature studio or independent comedy, we have American Fiction, Bottoms, The Holdovers, Joyride, and Theater Camp. For feature studio or independent drama, we have The Iron Claw, May December, Past Lives, Priscilla, Rustin. Stuff like this, I feel like, would be like something to look into when predicting. Or hell, let's just go back to last year. Wow, for big budget comedy, Roald Dahl's Matilda the Musical won over Glass Onion, which I think you could probably come to that conclusion because, you know, they're casting a bunch of kids in the movie. But for big budget drama, they got to The Fabelmans. Like, they voted for The Fabelmans in this category over Elvis. Studio independent comedy, they got a Catherine called Birdie. For studio independent drama, they had The Banshees of Inisherin as the winner. Oh, wait a minute, I just realized, like, Everything Everywhere All at Once was not nominated in any of these categories. Like, Everything Everywhere All at Once won the Zeitgeist Award, but I don't really know what the Zeitgeist Award is supposed to be. That's the kind of thing we're gonna have to look into going forward. But now, I want to pass the question off to you. What do you think of the best casting Oscar category that's just been announced? What other categories do you feel like the Oscars should add? Whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments below what you think. And consider hitting that subscribe button, because if you don't, you're not going to be cast in anything.